Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to my latest live stream. Yes. So, how are we all doing? Oh man, that was quite some week, huh? A lot of news, some negative news for Christian Horner, some positive news for the Red Bull car itself, if whatever they put on is actually going on during testing. um, yeah, so I prepared this live stream. I had a good look at all the liveries and I rated them. So I'm gonna wait for a little bit. Hello, Beth. Welcome. It's always good to see Beth here. One of my earliest members. Yeah. So what I did for this live stream is I'm gonna rate the liveries from worst to best. From worst to best. Yes, that's what I'm gonna do. And I'm going to edit this video later into the shorter version for people that, don't want to watch an hour long of this face here. It's going to be less than 10 minutes. Hello, Pat. Thank you for joining. And it's definitely a nice way to start the weekend. And there's Vegas. Does raw carbon fiber count as livery? Well, I've rated the cars with lots of carbon fiber extra low. So now you know. Yeah, I think I'm slowly getting started. Welcome at the 2024 Ranking the Liveries live stream. So I looked at 3 things specifically for this ranking. How easy are the cars to recognize? Because you get a lot of cars that look like each other, But I'll talk about that a little bit more during the live stream. How original is the livery? Is it the same thing every year like some teams do? Or is it something completely new? I award extra points for that. And then the overall aesthetics. Like a beautiful car is a beautiful car, whether it's the same as last year or not. Let me look at the chat before I start. Okay, everybody's saying hi to each other. No, that's fine too. Okay. Let's get started. Oh no. Yes. In P10, we have Alpine. The French team teased us all kinds of camouflage pinks, and then they came up with this. Way too much black to save weight, and overall very uninspired. Not very original either, and easy to mix up with other cars when it's a little dark on track. I suppose it's a livery that will serve them this season, as I'm not expecting much of Alpine at all. Yeah, the expectations of Alpine are very low, and that's why the livery is kind of low as well. I remember seeing lots of pictures with all kinds of pinks in camouflage, and the Twitter account was teasing like, "Oh, this is coming up and this is coming up," and yeah, it's the most underwhelming livery in my opinion, because yeah, compared to last year and especially the year before, it was much nicer. Um, it's like they're already pushing themselves in an underdog role by not having a flashy livery. So let me see in the chat what other people say. Vegas says, ouch. I agree. And Beth says, at least they have a pink version too. But I don't like the pink either. But wait, there's a pink version. Yeah, that's crap too. Oh man. So, yeah, that was Alpine. Okay, let's go to the next one. In P9, I've picked the Haas livery. Never been a big fan of the white, red and black, and it looks completely basic. Again, a basic livery for a very basic team. The lack of ambition shows in the livery that doesn't promise much either. Yeah, um, we've seen pretty cool liveries over the years from Haas. I especially liked the black and gold one they had a few years ago when William Story and his energy drink company was there to sponsor them, although he never paid much money for it. Um, yeah, Haas is. They're probably saving on everything they have because Gene Haas wants to run an F1 team as cheap as possible and then put 40 million in his pocket. That's not really why people are in F1, you know. But yeah, let's stick to liveries, and this livery is very much like last year's, so it's not very original. There's lots of black in it, so there's probably a lot of carbon in it as well. But let's look at what the people in the chat say about it. Beth says, gotta give him points for trying. I don't know whether that was about Alpine or Haas, but everybody gets points for trying, except that Alpine and Haas didn't try very hard, in my opinion. And Pat Quakermat says, Haas, come on, it's so bad. Yeah, I think it's bad too. And Vegas says, agreed again. And then Pat says, you think American outfits know how to market a car. This one is marketing bypass. Well, that's true, you know, the Americans are flashy and stars and stripes and fireworks and the 4th of July and then they come up with this, you know. But I've never felt Haas as an American team, you know. They're just, yeah, it's a weird team, you know. And yeah, well, we talked about it loads of times before, but the little bit of spirit they had was with Gunther Steiner, and they let him go. So, yeah, don't know what to expect of Haas. You know, yeah, it's a bit of a nothing team, to be honest. And Beth says, red, black, and white can look so smart. How can Haas make it look so bland? Well, that's exactly the word for it, bland. You know, just I call it basic, but basic and bland, you know, that's pretty much the same thing. Vega says burnt in the Mazepin debacle. Yeah, that's pretty much the last bit of dignity they had to get involved in a Russian, what is it, a pesticide company. Okay, let's go to the next livery. Yeah, this is a bit of a surprise for some people, but I'll explain. For P8, I went for the Visa Cash App. The Visa Cash App team. It was nice of them to refer back to the Toro Rosso days, but somehow it looks like a cheap, shiny version of those liveries. All done to please the people who were disgruntled by their stupid team name. Mind you, If they score lots of points, we will embrace that livery again, but for now, I'm saying meh. Yeah, meh. I'm looking at it at the TV here. Um, it it's nice and bright. Um, I do like the flashback to the old livery they had, but then that one was darker, and I felt it was less shiny. I think it's the shininess that makes it tacky for me. That's pretty much the word for it, tacky. So you have a tacky team with a tacky um, team name with a tacky livery. But let's go to the chat and see what they say about it. Um, Vega says too busy. Yeah, yeah. The livery is pretty busy. With all the white and the blue and Pat says, I do like this one. At least there's color, and it fits with Red Bull and Visa. Well, yeah. You see, as we're going towards the number one, the liveries are getting better. So this one does have its qualities, and like I said, if Daniel Ricciardo scores a podium with it, and Yuki scores consistent P2 finishes, P4 finishes, sorry, then that livery is going to be soon forgotten. And then there's another thing. This is like a staged photo. Um, it could look a little bit different on track, and then on track in the sun is different again to on track in a night race in Singapore or something. You know. So, chat. What are you saying, Beth? What do you think about this livery of the racing bulls? Um, I think I've said enough about it, but yeah. Uh, I like the gloss paint. The racing the racing suits are a nice counterpoint. That's a good point, Beth, because those racing suits are completely white, which looks very classy. So, yeah, you got a good point there, Beth. I'm going to remember that one. And Vega says, it's flashy American. Push as many paying names. Push as many paying names as much as possible. Yeah. Um, I don't think it has as many names as the McLaren car, though, because Zach Brown is very good at getting deals together. And Pat says it was better when the white was silver. I'm trying to remember. Was that one of the older Toro Rosso liveries when it was all silver with blue? Anyway. Okay, let's go to the next livery. Aston Martin. For P7, I picked Aston Martin. Now, I do like their shade of green, and it's pretty enough. However, it lacks originality and some shine. I used to mix their cars up with the Mercedes all the time in the past, but Mercedes' new livery prevents that. Overall, we'll see the number 14 car all the time, and probably a nice long close-up of Stroll in a wall. Yeah, so the liveries are getting prettier now. I do like the Aston Martin green. It's the only shade of green that type of shade of green that we see, and it's part of Aston Martin. So it's kind of classic, which is good. I'm rewarding points for that, but at the same time, it's quite boring and it doesn't pop. I think that's what's missing. It's a livery that suits Lance Stroll, but I'd like to see a livery that suits Fernando Alonso. You know? Okay, let's go back to the chat. Beth says, still talking about the Racing Bulls. By the end of the year, I think the Racing Bulls livery will be memorable. I hope so. And my wife, Samantha, says, don't know why, but I'm always drawn to the car. You're drawn to the Aston Martin? Okay. We're not getting one, though. Beth says, classic AMR British Racing Green. Love it. Yeah, I don't hate it either. But, I just like the other liveries better. And that's why it's in, what is it, P6? Oh no, P7. It's as simple as that. And Pat Quaker Matt says, one of the nicest ones for me. Yeah, yeah. We can't all like the same thing, Different tastes. And Vegas says, not aggressive enough for Fernando. Exactly. It needs to pop. And there's the Versatile. All the way from, what was it? The Emirates. But you're not in the Emirates right now. Is that right, Versatile? You're in Oman? And Vegas says, good for tennis courts, though. Are you talking about that shade of green? Oh, Beth says, it's not meant to pop. It's British Racing Green. It's iconic. Oh, let me sip my tea. The Versatile came back to the Emirates last Tuesday. Well, I hope you had a good trip, and I love it that you're here. And Vegas is giving me the thumbs up. Okay, let's go to the next livery. McLaren. In P6, we have McLaren. I've always loved Papaya, and McLaren is a cool team that stands out. I like this livery better than the last year's one with the light blue. The car looks more impressive this way. But, to save weight, they have, like many teams, left parts unpainted. I don't understand why the teams, if they want to save weight and the paint is the issue, why don't they start using light colors? Light blue, light pink, light orange. That was a joke. So the McLaren livery, last year's one was papaya with black and then a blue stripe on it. And that blue stripe made it sort of, it made it softer, And I think this McLaren car looks tougher with just the black and just the papaya, which is what I like. I want these racing cars to have an attitude, even in their presence, in their livery. It needs to say, "You're not gonna pass me," or "I'm in your mirror. I'm gonna pass you." And I feel that with that light blue over it, it was like, "Hi, I'm Lando Norris." Yeah, let's see what the chat's saying. Samantha says, "Don't slurp." I just did that for for drama. The first style says, "Some tea with the king and queen, your majesty." And Beth says, "Go get him, Samantha." And she needs to get up all these stairs to get here. And she's comfy on the sofa downstairs. And Pat says, too much carbon on top. Yeah, Pat's talking about cars. At least he's talking about cars. Um, yeah, the car has a little bit too much carbon. There's nothing you can do about it. Beth says, I have never liked that color. You never liked papaya? Okay. I bet you like the silver, the what was it? The Vodafone livery of McLaren much better. Vega says, I would have swapped these last two. The AMR being more subdued. Okay. Well, that's fair enough. Um, at the time when I was writing this, that's what I felt, and, maybe through the season, they'll swap again. Then again, I'm not too busy with liveries usually anyway. Gentilis says, hello, everyone. Hello, Gentilis. How nice of you to join, even though you're 20 minutes late. And Vegas says, but again, American style names and logos. And Samantha saying, hi to Gentilis. The Versatile says, we're going to take over the year for another year. It's your best team, Mercedes McLaren. Don't try to test melts. It's going to get messy. And Beth says, I like the Marlboro McLaren. Yeah, that was iconic too. The Prost and Senna fighting it out in the same car. That was epic. Okay. Let's go to the next one. Red Bull. For the P5 position, we have Red Bull. Awesome team, very recognizable livery. Very recognizable livery. Every year the same, and that gets dull. Verstappen has even been joking about it. I do hope we get better special liveries in 2024. The ones made by fans, with just a few purple stripes, won't do. Yeah, that was a bit of a pet peeve for me. The special liveries that we had in Miami and Las Vegas were, just a little bit of stuff added onto the Red Bull livery as we know it. And whereas I love it when the livery is completely different. So, was it Turkey 2020 when they had the all white livery? That was awesome. And I can remember a livery in black and blue camouflage. That was awesome. So yeah, just I want to when a special livery is done, I'd like to see something more completely out of the ordinary. That you go like, oh my god, that's different. Instead of, hey, it's the Red Bull livery and somebody painted a couple of stripes in purple and pink over it. Yeah, and for the rest, I love how recognizable Red Bull is with their livery. Whenever they're coming out of the tunnel in Monaco, you never have to think, "Oh, what car is that?" Whereas, as I mentioned earlier, sometimes with the Aston Martin being, very much like the Mercedes, especially when it's in the shade and dark, I mix them up all the time. So I love how recognizable Red Bull is, and those colors they pop, which is important. So overall, Red Bull is a good, decent livery, but not very surprising. Let me see what they say in the comments. Hey, there's Rico. People, if you see Racing with Rico, he's a young content creator from Canada. He's only got a handful of subscribers now. If you want to be so kind as to help him out a bit by subscribing to his channel and maybe leave a comment every once in a while, he'd really appreciate that. Um, let me see what I've missed here. The first style says, I like the Vodafone and the Marlboro. He's still talking about the McLaren and the Golf. Yeah, that was a nice livery as well. And Vegas says, same old, same old. And the Versatile says, P5 in the constructors as well. Yes, Red Bull's going to be P5 in the constructors. As long as Max wins the championship. And Pat says, love the livery, no changes. However, I do not need to buy another shirt. Well, that's another thing, you know. If you get a proper Red Bull shirt, only the sponsor names change once in a while. But the colors stay the same. Samantha says, I never liked the RB livery. Don't shoot me. No, honey, I'm not going to shoot you. But I'm sleeping here in the attic tonight, okay? And Beth says, now this is a livery. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Yeah. Hey, everyone, says Riku. And he says, that turkey livery was absolutely incredible. Yeah, that white livery was awesome. And Beth says, wait. Don't get me wrong. I like some of the special liveries they do. But I like the Red Bull livery. It's recognizable and it works. Exactly. You see it, you recognize it. And the Versatile says, Rico, watch your channel. And Riku says, thank you, Wimbo, you are the best. And Rico is advertising his channel by saying it's called Racing with Riku. And Beth says, thanks, I'll check it out. Okay, the Versatile, why do you have RB in one corner of your room and on the other corner a W11 and some McLaren? Well, I'm just a real fan, you know? I love all the teams. I've got all kinds of caps here. I've got a McLaren cap. I've got Aston Martin. No Mercedes. Mercedes is going to be my favorite team in 2025. Okay. That's enough nonsense. The Versatile says, where's Haas then? Huh? Yeah, I don't have any Haas merch yet. And I haven't got any Williams yet. So, you know, if you all send super thanks, then I can buy some merch because I just don't have any money for merch. Do you hear that violin in the background? Jason? Oh, there he is, Wheelsport. Sorry, I'm missing this. Stuck in a car on the road with terrible coverage. Just wanted to say hi. Hope it goes well. And hopefully you'll get more members. Yes, that would be nice. But don't send me any more, Jason, because I feel guilty enough as it is. Oh, Vegas, you got to go? Right. Well, thanks for joining, even if it's only for an half an hour. You know, I appreciate it. And I'll probably be on next week again. Okay, let's go to the next livery. Oh, the first stuff says, when is the Wimbo Formula merge coming out? I might do it when I reach 5k subscribers. That would be a nice goal to have. But before that, no. And Samantha's talking about Williams merch. That's because William only accepts credit card and no PayPal. I refuse to shop there then. But honey, we have a credit card. I don't understand. Okay, next livery. Ferrari. In P4, I've picked Scuderia Ferrari. Somehow, for this team, I don't mind if they pick the same color every year. I do remember a more burgundy red a few years ago. This year's car has white and yellow on it, and it makes it a little cheaper looking. More like a trailer for a circus or a fast food restaurant. Yeah, that's my only beef with this Ferrari livery. The white and yellow makes it look like that fast food chain with the clown. Um, and the white makes it more friendly looking, whereas earlier I was talking about how the more darker colors make a car look tougher, which I like. But yeah, Ferrari is the most stylish team out there, and they don't have to be original because they are Ferrari, and I just love them. Um, and that's why they're in a good spot. P4 for a team that has the same color livery every season. Now let's go to the chat. Oh. So every week when I do a live stream, Jason from Wheel Sports is handing out the subscriptions, and it makes me feel guilty because um, it's costing money, and he's spending loads of money. So the last time I went onto his live stream and I gave him a super thanks, and guess what? The next live stream he gave another 15 subscriptions away. So, oh dear. Right. Let me see where we were in the chat. Pat says, agree with Riku, the white Red Bull livery is beautiful. And Beth says, hey Jason. And Versatile says, Wheel Sports, yo, my mentee. And Vegas says, got a scoot, excellent time, Wim. Okay. And Beth says goodbye to Vegas. And there's Polish Eddie. Samantha, I'm sure they're going to do just fine without your money. Okay. And the Versatile has been giving away free memberships, which is super nice. Thank you very much, Versatile. Ah, you gifted yourself a subscription. Very nice. And Pat Crakermat says, more McDonald's than Ferrari. And Samantha says, haha, Eddie, I'm sure they are fine. I'm just waiting on finding a nice little shop with stuff, as I like to support small business too. And Riku says, I think the Ferrari looks very clean this year. I'm a fan of trying something different with the white and yellow, although I do prefer the classic all red, but not the burgundy Maranello red. And Pat says, missed opportunity to put some more classic design in it. Yeah. And Polish Eddie is a little bit sarcastic here. Oh my god, lol. Pat, did you just come up with that one? That's hilarious. I haven't heard that one hundreds of times already over the past years. And then there's a guy called Troy Warlock, and he says, you. Okay. So, where were we? The Ferrari livery. Yeah, I think we've said everything about the Ferrari livery. I think it's a little bit cheaper looking because of the white and the yellow on it. But yeah, everybody has a different taste. Okay, the next livery is Mercedes. P3 Mercedes. I love what they did to the I love what they did to their car. The black on the sides and then the silver returning at the front is awesome, and I'd say it's symbolic too, as a transition from the black that Hamilton wanted to the silver that it used to be. I wouldn't be surprised if the car was silver again next season. I hope the red on top is gone as well then. Yeah, um, with Lewis Hamilton leaving, I wouldn't be surprised if the car just turns out to be silver again all the way. Um, in German, they're called the silver Pfeilen, which means the silver arrows, and that's what they originally used to be. Um, they referred back to it in 2022, but that wasn't a big success, so they went back to black. Hey, that's a Amy Winehouse song. Um, but I really like the Mercedes livery. It looks sharp. It looks classy. You know, yeah. I'm always surprised that a classy team like Mercedes does so much moaning all the time. But yeah, I'll leave that for another live stream. Um, let's stick to the aesthetics of the beautiful W15. If it's going to be a quick car, we don't know. I think Red Bull has rattled the paddock a little bit by putting all these things that Mercedes has discarded. But let's go to the chat and see what's being said there. Um, the Versatile also gave me a gift of 4, I think it's Emirate dollars. Yeah. Don't know what they're worth. I'll Google it later. Thanks very much, buddy. Samantha says Troy is a man of few words. Yes. I hope he didn't type an F before the U. Samantha says Mercedes. Bleh. And Pat says boring. I don't think their livery is boring. The first off says either me or Jason will be spending our life savings here. Don't you worry. Okay. Well, if there's nothing I can do about it, then I'll just accept it. And Riku says Mercedes, like the side pod color, love the silver. Not a huge fan of the Toto red. Yeah, the red needs to go. It's distracting. And Pat says too black. And Beth says, why are there 12 people watching but only 1 like? Someone says, thanks, Beth, I forgot. It's going to be a donkey. So the W15 is going to be a donkey? Oh dear. But then, Hamilton is right for leaving if it's a donkey. What if it's a donkey this year and then it's super quick next season? That'd be cool too. And Racing with Riku says, dirham for the win. The first house says, for AED is sentimentally around $50 of inflation. Valentine's Day bonus. I hope you didn't spend that much money on me though. Because $50, that's crazy. I don't deserve that. But I do appreciate it. Okay, let's go to the next livery. So that was P3, and in P2, I have Williams. The number 2 livery for me is Williams. I already like the one they had last season, but this one is just a tougher version. I bet it will be even harder to pass Albon if he's in front. The light blue is gone, and it has many more black tones. Overall, it's just a very pretty livery. Also, my favorite color is blue. So yeah, blue is pretty much the color of my channel. You'll probably see it more often in my videos now, where whenever there's letters popping up, I'll use a dark blue background. I'm thinking about, um, getting a paid person to make a new logo and just a whole new branding, um, to make it look a little bit more professional, because what I have now is just flung together by me and Samantha. But as for the Williams livery, um, yeah, the livery of last year had all these light blues and whites all through it, and it made it look softer. And this Williams car, it just looks hard as nails. And I'm just really hoping that Sargent can do a lot better and Albon can do a lot better, because for some reason, with James Vowles being such a good speaker, that team is growing on me. I'm slowly becoming a Williams fan, and nobody will be offended by me being a Williams fan, because they've been bad for so long. So yeah, it's nice to be neutral. So if I ever go to Silverstone for the race, then I'll wear Williams merchandise if Samantha buys it with the credit card. So let's see what the chat's saying. The first style says, Albon is such a fun name to say. Albon. Okay, is that how you say it? Racing with Riku present. The first style, greatest inflation hedge. AED all the way. And Beth says, it's a good looking car. So Beth, do you think it deserves to be in P2? Or where would you put it? And Pat says, nice and colorful, although I do like the yellow and blue Williams livery from the past. Camel and Cannon. Yes, yeah, those old liveries, they're iconic, because races and championships were won with them, and world champions have driven them, and that makes a car iconic as well. The first house says, Hank will be upset he missed this. I even emailed him, that this live stream was on. I think I put it on like 5-6 hours ago. Yeah, Hank's not on Twitter, so he probably he didn't see my Twitter post either. Samantha says, I always think Albon's team should be Dr. Albon's It's My Life. Well, Samantha, you run my TikTok account. Why don't you make a TikTok with Albon singing It's My Life? I like a bonbon Albon, says Versatile. Why don't I get emails from the Wimbo newsletter? Yeah, you're all talk. First off, keeps talking about things that I don't have yet. I'll have a newsletter at some point when I get more professional. Vegas says, back. I think Williams is first, but I'm partial to the team personally. So you're another Williams lover. Well, that's good to hear. Good to hear. Okay. And now we're going to the next livery. And it's the winner. Nobody expected this. The number one livery for the 2024 season is the one from the Stake F1 team. It's totally original. It's easy to spot, it looks fast, and just like it came from a Marvel comic or something. It speaks to my imagination, and I hope more teams go a little mental. I hope more teams go a little mental next season. Let's make the F1 a circus, a proper explosion of all the colors of the rainbow. It's meant to be entertainment after all. Yeah. As for originality, that poisonous green and just the cool blackness and then the green, and it did something to me from right from the start. And they're gonna finish P8 in the standings pretty much, or P9 even. But that doesn't matter because they have a super cool livery, and I appreciate that. It's recognizable, which I said was important. It's original, which I thought was important, and the overall aesthetics. It just looks awesome. It looks cool. But that's what I think anyway. I'll probably get cooked for this, but I don't care because it's my opinion. Yeah. Okay. The first off says, Samantha, are you Dutch? No, my wife is from Northern Ireland. The first off says, no way you put this number one. Yes, I did, and I just explained why. Beth says, minging. It's minging. And Riku says, yes, the green steak livery. Love it. See, Riku is on my team. Vercel says, puke on carbon. Wow. Riku says, looks like money. The FIA will love it. Hey! There's Hank. We were just talking about you, Hank. I emailed you. We really missed you. I've been going at it for 45 minutes now, so there's only about 15 minutes left. But I'm glad you're here, Hank. And Samantha says, hi, Hank. And Pat says, yep, like this one also. Only a yellow Jordan-like one missing. And Vegas says, again, I'd swap these last two. I appreciate a shout, but Williams look properly F1. I definitely dig these togs though. The Versailles says, they should rename this team Drake Snake. Racing with Rico, big downgrade from the Alfa Romeo. And Versatile says, I think I summoned Hank by mistake. The Versatile, they had to remove Steak from their name, but after Drake's leak, I'm sure they are considering taking on any penalties and fees to keep him on. Hank's ears must have been burning. And Hank says, dang, busy. Okay, Hank, just for you, I'm going to give you a recap of my top 10 liveries. Yes? So in number 1, I have the Steak F1 team. In number 2, I have the Williams F1 team. In number 3, I have Mercedes Petronas AMG F1 team. In number 4, I have Scuderia Ferrari. In number 5, I have Oracle Red Bull Racing. In number 6, I have McLaren. In number 7, I have Aston Martin, Cognizant, Aramco F1 team. In where were we? P8, I have Visa Cash App F1 team. In P9, I have Haas. And Alpine is the number 10. And funny enough, that Alpine car, I think it's Gasly's, has the number 10 on it. Okay, guys, let's just chat for a little bit. I think they should do a livery like your AI thumbnail. It pops big time. Hank says the Kawasaki green is buzzing. The Green Hornet. Hank says, great, I appreciate it, Wimbo. Feeling special now. Well, I keep saying this, but Beth and Hank are the cornerstones of this channel because they've been there from day one. And then the Versatile and Jason, they came in later, they're very important as well. The versatiles send me messages once in a while on Discord, which I appreciate. So the versatile. Are Hugo and Boss two different brands? Yeah, I've seen Hugo on one car and then the other car has Boss. That was weird. And Beth says clearly Wim has lost his mind. Yeah, well, I never had much of a mind to start with, so that's okay. So there's a few things I want to point out. This Wednesday, I'm recording a podcast with the writer of this book, Formula Hopeless. Now, there's one problem. The book is in Dutch, the writer is Dutch, and he wants to do the podcast in Dutch. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to record it, I'm going to edit it, and then I'm going to run the YouTube software through it, that the subtitles will come up, and I'll fix the subtitles, whenever they misspelled something or whatever. And then I'm going to swap it to English. So the English speaking people can still watch this podcast, but they'll have to put on the subtitles. It was too much of an opportunity to miss talking to Jeroen Demmendaal. This book, I love it. It's about 6 or 7 hopeless teams in F1. And I'm talking hopeless, not like Haas was hopeless in 2021. I'm talking about cars that didn't come to pre-qualifying most races. And if they got into a race, then they would last 15 laps and then they would break down. So that's a thing for Wednesday. There was something else I wanted to talk about, but I forgot. Samantha says, cough, cough. Don't know what that's about. Hugo is on the Racing Bull. Yeah, but I saw Boss on another car, on another team. Yeah, the Versal says you can get an automatic subtitle generator for the live stream. Okay, but it's a podcast, so I'm gonna edit it. I'm gonna zoom in at certain parts, and I'm gonna cut the boring bits out. Versal says, Samantha, do you like John Watson? I don't know who that is. Enrico says, sounds like a really cool podcast guest. Can't wait to tune in. And Hank says, could be an interesting podcast. And the Versal says, Boss was on Aston Martin, though. Do you know why? Are there any questions? I've also recorded a video today about a driver that was meant to be the first Chinese driver. Way before Guan Yu Zhou. That's probably coming out Sunday evening. I'll have tomorrow and Sunday to edit it. Hey, but the versatile, Eddie Irvine was from Northern Ireland as well. So, and he was nearly champion. Automatic generated subtitles suck. Good of you putting in the extra work. Yeah, I wanted to look good for the English people that want to watch the podcast. I just wonder how I sound in Dutch, because I haven't done anything in Dutch on this channel. Well, I did an advert in a few videos in Dutch. And the Versal says you should make a channel trailer. Yeah, I've got one of my best performing videos on there. But yeah, I'll have a look into that. What is expected of you on a channel trailer? Um, Beth says there was an Irish driver, John Watson, back in the 1970s. Beth, do you remember a driver called Martin Connolly or Martin Donnelly from Northern Ireland? He had that terrible, terrible accident in, I think it was one of the Jordans, and he was left on the tarmac there with his legs all scrambled up. It was horrible. Oh, Vegas has a good question. Are you planning anything for testing live streams? I'm invited for Jason's testing stream. So I'll finish work at about 12 or, half 12. And then I'll just put on a different shirt and I'll pop on Wheel Sports. And then we'll watch the afternoon testing together. But I'm not doing it on my own channel. No. Yeah, Beth says Martin Donnelly. Yeah. Yeah, I seen Martin Donnelly on that podcast with David Coulthard and Eddie Jordan. The High Performance podcast, I think it's called. And the Versatile says, what about my testing stream? I'm not sure what you mean by that, Versatile. Hank says, Northern Irish are UK anyway. And Vegas says, Wheel Sports, cool. Yeah, tune in for Jason. Savannah says, only if they're Protestants, Hank. And don't forget Eddie Irvine. Yeah, I just mentioned him. So, are there any more questions or things we want to discuss? Because if not, then I'm gonna cut it short. Hope you all enjoyed this podcast. The first out, thank you again for handing out the subscriptions and for the $4 gift. I do appreciate it, and I hope to see you all in the comments of one of my videos, or I hope to see you in a live stream next week. Okay? If there's no more questions, then I'll just check out the chat here for another minute. A minute or two. It was a really fun chat. Good live stream. Enjoyed it. Okay. Doei doei everyone. Doei doei.